That would help.
He went to get something ice.
Okay.
Oh, he's doing some accreditation. It's not on.
Oh, my goodness.
What is going on?
Unbelievable.
5 days, the boy was there.
Can't wait to see his girlfriend and cried with him for 5 days.
I didn't even see anything in the newspaper.
Today, we're doing tomorrow's newspaper. Oh, my God. You'll see it on the news.
Oh, dear. He had to resign from his position.
Do you want to do the executive session before the new business?
Yes. Yes.
Or we'll do it later in the meeting? We can do it later.
No.
We're gonna move this to people.
Because then we.
Vote, let's vote on it.
Because then the people may want to.
He doesn't mind waiting.
Okay.
Size of the pictures? Oh, they're nice. You're gonna make a set.
Yeah.
They came out very nice.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Ramapo Town Board to order. This is our regular meeting of June 24th, 2009. And I'd like to ask our clerk, Christian Sampson, to call the roll, please.
Councilman Stein?
Here.
Councilman Ullman?
Here.
Councilman Friedman?
Here.
Councilwoman Deputy Supervisor Hunter?
Here.
Supervisor St. Lawrence?
Here. I'd like to ask Councilman Stein to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda tonight will be a special presentation by our Chief, Chief Brower. So I'll turn it over to you, Chief. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and good evening. Good evening to the Town Board. I'd like to share with everyone a certificate of accreditation that was granted to the Police Department by the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services. On June 11th, Commissioner Fran Hunter, Sergeant Hyman, and myself, we went up to Albany to receive this award from the New York State Law Enforcement Accreditation Council. It's the plaque.
Very nice.
Certificate of accreditation. Be hereby known that the Ramapo Town Police Department, originally accredited in 2004, continues to meet all applicable requirements established by the New York State Law Enforcement Accreditation Council. The Council is therefore proud to award this agency reaccreditation status for the period of June 11th, 2009 through June 10th, 2014. We'll have this hanging in the police department in a few locations, Mr. Supervisor. As the board knows, on April 21st through April 23rd, this police department was accredited. We had an on-site team of assessors come down to evaluate us. They were supposed to check and make sure that we complied with over 132 different standards. These standards included such areas as a patrol function, criminal investigations, supervisory and patrol training, communications, etc. It's very proud of the fact that we've met or exceeded every one of those standards. Mr. Supervisor, very proud of the men and women of the police department, as well as our police dispatchers and our civilian employees. This accomplishment reflects the dedication and the work ethic that personifies our agency. I'd like to recognize Sergeant Hyman. Sergeant Hyman was our accreditation manager during this project. Unfortunately, he's out of town. He couldn't be here this evening, but I certainly want to commend him for a job well done. Mr. Supervisor, I also want to thank you and the board for your support with this project and the support you give the police department on a daily basis. Incidentally, this support was certainly evident back in Albany, June 11th. It's about 8 police agencies that were either accredited or reaccredited that day, and Deputy Supervisor Fran Hunter was the only police commissioner there. To me, this speaks volumes of what this board is all about, its commitment to the police department. And I want to thank you, Mrs. Hunter, for taking the time to come up to Albany with us.
Thank you.
Once again, Mr. Supervisor, very proud of this agency. And I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank the board members for their support to make this thing happen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Well done,
And
Chief.
on behalf of the entire board, the police commission, and the 125,000 people in the town of Ramapo, we are lucky to have such a dedicated police department. It's one of the reasons why we're the safest place to live in the United States, because of that dedication, because of our community policing, and because of the leadership that we have. And I want to thank you, Chief, from the top right on down to everyone in the department, including the dispatchers, for all the wonderful work that they perform.
Thank you again. Good
Thank
evening,
you.
sir.
Thank you, Chief. The next item on the agenda, I want to go to boards and commissions. We have the reappointment of a Housing Authority member. That's 6A, moved by
I'll move.
Councilman Friedman, seconded by Councilman Stein. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. The next item, 6B, is the acceptance of a resignation of a commission on the member of the Commission on Ethics, and we will send a letter to the good doctor for his wonderful services that he's performed. He has sent in a letter that his time constraints will not let him to be able to continue, but we certainly appreciate the work that he's done on the board. So motion for that, accept that resignation by
Stein.
Councilman Stein, seconded by
Hunter.
Deputy Supervisor Hunter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. And now 6C. It's appointment of 2 commissioners, and we have 2 of those one of those commissioners here. But first, we'll move and second on this motion. Moved by Councilman Stein, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. And that is for Kathleen Davis, and also for Arnold Regensberger. Am I saying that right? Stand right up. I know everybody knows you. I want you to walk up here. We want to shake your hand and congratulate you for being on the Ethics Commission.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We could always receive a resolution. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Just a quick comment?
Yeah, I'll make a quick comment and then I'll... I do want to thank you, Arnie, for all the work you've done for this town and now on the Ethics Board. And I mean that all the volunteerism and the work you've done in our court as well. And also want to give a kudos out to your wife Ruth, who was a former president of the Ramapo Valley Ambulance Corps. And so you come from truly from a family of service to the community, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. And yes, Deputy Supervisor
All right, I
Hunter?
would just like to say on behalf of Mrs. Davies, who could not be with us this evening, and to say that this is a great addition to this committee. She's a person that is very sincere and earnest and is looking forward to working with the other members on the Ethics Committee.
Thank you, Deputy Supervisor. Councilman Friedman.
Yes, I congratulate Mr. Regensberger and Ms. Davies. We've had a tough time filling these spots on the Commission on Ethics simply because you just can't replace one person with anyone you wish. There are certain qualifications involved. One has to be an educator, one has to belong to a political party other than the majority of the board, etc., etc. So it's been a difficult task, not necessarily finding qualified people, but finding people that fit into these slots. So I'd like to congratulate the entire board on finally finishing off this, and especially to Mr. Sampson, finishing off these appointments. We have a full complement. I'm sure the chairman will be thrilled.
Yes, thank you. And thank you again, Arnie. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes for the regular meeting of May 11th.
Moved.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Hunter, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously. Next item is the regular minutes acceptance for May 27th.
Moved.
Moved by Councilman Friedman, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously. And 1C is a regular meeting of June 10th, 2009. Moved by
Moved.
Councilman Friedman, seconded by Supervisor St. Lawrence. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. The next item is item 2, Town Attorney. And I'll throw it over to our Town Attorney, Alan Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. 2A is you're amending a resolution. We currently have a contract with Bella Vista Construction Corp. for the repair and replacement of existing sidewalks and curbs at a fee of $48,000 for the year 2009. Tony Sharon, the Superintendent of Highways, has requested that amount be increased to $150,000 due to additional sidewalk and curb work he has planned for this year.
Moved by
Moved.
Councilman Friedman, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously.
Just so you know, the last resolution that we had was when I was actually the week that I was appointed.
Oh.
Bella Vista was the time.
Was the day that you were appointed?
Because I see that.
Which was? So I can put that in my memory
October
bank?
27.
Okay.
2B is, the planning board had approved a subdivision entitled GB Estates located on Old Nyack Turnpike. As a condition of that approval, the planning board required the applicant to give a road widening easement to the county of Rockland. It turns out that in the early 1980s, the town of Ramapo had received that exact easement. The applicant requested that the town transfer the easement to the county and offered to pay the town $1,850 for the transfer. In a memorandum attached to the resolution, Ted Zarinko, Director of Public Works, and Anthony Sharon, Superintendent of Highways, have reviewed the request and have no objection. And the approval will be conditioned on the applicant paying the $1,850 and the applicant's attorney to prepare all required documents and pay all costs of recording.
Okay. Moved by
Hunter.
Deputy Supervisor Hunter, second by Councilman Friedman. On the question, Councilman Friedman.
Yes, I believe at the workshop, the attorney for the applicant presented his case, and basically, it was a fair presentation in terms of $34,000 required to be paid by the applicant, which was kind of ludicrous in view of the fact that it was a transfer of an easement from one municipality to another. I think this is a fairer figure. And since the attorney decided to wear his tux tonight, I figured we ought to approve this.
I think the attorney should make a statement.
Okay, we have a mover second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimously. Counsel?
2C1 is our office solicited bids for the purchase, delivery, and installation of a sand silo for the Spook Rock Golf Course. Michelle Antosca, Director of Parks and Recreation, recommends that the board accept the lowest responsible bid submitted by Green Solutions LLC in the amount of $19,991.
Moved by
Stein.
Councilman Stein, seconded by
Second.
Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
2D1, the Attorney's Office solicited proposals for vending machine services and exclusive beverage franchise for the town. Michelle Antosca, Director of the Department of Parks and Recreation, and Deputy Town Attorney Richard Atkinson reviewed the proposals and recommend that the board accept the proposal of First Choice Vending DBA American Vending Machines be accepted subject to the following terms: a 5-year term with the town having the right to terminate at the end of 2 years. They will pay a 31% commission for any vending machines in public areas and a 25% commission for vending machines in employee areas, and a franchise fee of $10,500.
Moved by
Hunter.
Deputy Supervisor Hunter, seconded by Councilman Stein. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
2D2 is Michelle Antosca, Director of Parks and Recreation, solicited proposals for fencing for the new playground the town will be installing on West Central Avenue and Adar Court. She is recommending that the board accept the proposal of Yabu Fence Company, the amount of $6,270.
Moved by
I'll move that.
Councilman Friedman, seconded by Councilman Stein. On the question, Councilman Friedman.
Yes, just to inform the public, this fee amount of $6,270 was not subject to competitive bidding because it didn't meet the $20,000 threshold required by DPW projects, so we could just take the best proposal.
And so we solicited 3 bids, and they're attached to the resolution, and we've taken the lowest bid. And I do want to say on this, for this vote, I'll call for the vote first. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. This is a park that we were able to create out of an easement that we had on West Central Avenue. There was there was a small drainage area that went into a retention basin, and we were able to put a pipe into that area and clean out the retention basin. So we're improving our flooding capabilities, or the prevention of flooding in that area and the mitigation of flooding with the retention area. But we were able to create a park. So we've really created this land, and now we're putting it to great use. Okay, Council?
2E1, the town presently assigns 1 or 2 police officers to Rockland County Intelligence Center. The County of Rockland has agreed to reimburse the town in the amount of $147,840 towards the cost of 2 police officers for the year 2009.
Moved by Councilman Stein, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. And next, in 2010, we will be receiving a full reimbursement of all of our officers at the Narcotics Task Force, at the Rockland County Intel, and that sit on the New York City Anti-Terrorist Task Force. So the county in 2010 will be reimbursing the town completely for those officers, not a partial reimbursement as we have here. Okay? Did we vote on that?
Yes.
Okay. Council?
2E2 is the Assessor's Office will be continuing a project involving the scanning of assessment records. We received a proposal from Edgewood Solutions, 317 Little Tor Road, New City, New York, to assist the office at the fee of $26 per hour, not to exceed $17,150.
Moved by?
$7,150, I'm sorry.
Not to exceed $7,150.
50, yep.
Moved by Councilman Stein, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
2F1 is, the first resolution is adoption of a negative declaration based on the recommendation of Paul Gdansky. The proposed purchase of land at Pomona Road and Fires Memorial Drive will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. Attached to the resolution is the short form negative declaration.
Moved by Councilman Friedman, seconded by Councilman Stein. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
2F2 is the resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign a contract of sale with 1717 Properties for the purchase of approximately 58 acres at 300 Pomona Road, 240 Pomona Road, and 25 Harms Memorial Drive at a purchase price of $14,000 with $8,000...
14 million.
14 million. I wish it was 14,000. 14 million with $8 million being a cash payment from the town, and the seller agreeing to give the town a gift in the amount of $6,000.
$6 million.
$6 million again. I'm trying to save you some money, somebody.
Well, it's a gift of $6 million. We want the whole $6 million.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Moved by?
A digit here and a digit there.
That's it.
You know.
At least I didn't make a mistake in the resolution itself, though.
That's right.
Okay.
Moved by Stein, seconded by?
Second.
Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
2G1,
Yes.
What was the source of funds? Which bond?
it was not necessarily a source of funds, it was just an account given to me.
An economic development bond that will be
Yeah, there was a
drawn out
line
at the
given
end
to
of the
me,
year.
Finance established a new capital line for this project. 2G1 is adoption of a negative declaration recommended by Mr. Gdansky, one of the town's engineer, with respect to the purchase of the Lower Hudson Valley Challenger Center at 225 Route 59, Airmont, New York.
Moved by?
I'll move that. Mr.
Councilman Friedman, seconded by? Councilman Stein. This is for the neg deck.
Neg deck, yes.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
2G2 is a resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute a contract of sale. The terms of the purchase will be that the total purchase price is $820,000, with the town making a cash payment of $100,000 and then paying $60,000 per year for 12 years.
Do you want to make a
Before-
statement?
be-
Before I take a mover or a second on this,
Right.
I'd like to recognize Councilman Stein.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Earlier today at 5 o'clock, I had to tender my resignation from the Challenger Center Board in order to act on these resolutions tonight. I'm going to read my resolution so that, I'm going to read my resignation so that there's no question that there's no conflict of interest. The Challenger Center has a long and great history, which I'm not going to bore anybody with tonight. I'll just merely read my resignation at this point. That was tendered to Anthony Santucci, who is the chairman of the Lower Hudson Valley Challenger Center, Inc., and this was delivered to his home. Dear Mr. Santucci, in furtherance of prior discussions and with a view toward the continued growth of the Challenger Center, please accept this letter as my written resignation as a member of the Board of Directors. And the only reason for my resignation is to enable me to act on behalf of the Challenger Center and secure its future while voting tonight on pertinent resolutions as a member of the Ramapo Town Board. And this resignation will eliminate any conflict of interest. The handful of us that have been there from day one, including my wife Karen, from the spring of 1994, some 15 years ago, as members of the Ramapo Central School Board's Airmont School Ad Hoc Committee, can appreciate the extraordinary efforts that we expended to create, open, nurture, maintain, and expand our Challenger Center. And we have certainly lived up to the Challenger's mission of to learn, to explore, and to inspire. In this bittersweet moment, and with thoughts of the day when we finally put the shovel to the dirt, and with the thoughts of the tens of thousands of students that we have sent through the Challenger Center on a mission in space, it is with great pride and sense of achievement that I now tender this resignation at 5 p.m. this 24th day of June, 2009. Your friend and now former board member, David J. Stein.
Thank you, Councilman Stein. I would like to, before we continue, I would like to thank you for the work that you did on the Challenger Center from day one. A lot of people maybe moved into the town since the Challenger Center was put up, but for those who are here, like myself, they're born and raised here. I remember every day since kindergarten I used to transfer my bus on the way to Sacred Heart School at the Airmont School, and it was on that property that the Challenger Center was built. And so there was a long history of the old Airmont School and how that center was going to be built, the shopping center with the village of Airmont, and may even predated Airmont, some of those early discussions. The fact of the matter is that through your efforts and the efforts of the Challenger Center and the board, you were able to have that property saved and have the Challenger Center built. And as you said, tens of thousands of kids have been able to utilize that mission. The Challenger Center, like so many organizations, depends so much on the boards and the volunteerism of the board members, and it becomes a very strenuous task, I'm sure. And I know you've worked as a board member for many years, and all the dedicated board members. And as part of this purchase, we will be having a special advisory committee within the Parks Department set up for the Challenger Center. We would like to have everybody that is on the board of the Challenger Center to be on that advisory committee. And I would like to ask you, Councilman Stein, if you would be the liaison from this board to the Challenger Center as you are for other committees. I believe you're the liaison for the Golf Committee. And I think it would be appropriate that you could be the liaison from this board to the Challenger Advisory Board, which will be established when we have the final purchase after we've worked out the terms and the employment and the people and what we're going to be doing. The Challenger Center will get some new life added to an already great institution by having our Parks Department work with the Challenger employees that are there with the board so that we can further the mission of the Challenger Center here in the town of Ramapo and from students outside of the town of Ramapo as well who get to utilize that. And we'll be able to incorporate missions within our park system, and that will be not just for kids but for seniors and for baby boomers like myself who want to take a trip to Mars or to the moon. I think it's going to be a great addition to our Parks Department. We already are the best Parks Department on earth, and now we will be expanding into the universe. And I think it is absolutely a great fit, and to be able to work with you and with the Mr. Santucci and the other board members, Ken Rosen, as well, to be able to discuss this matter, and then to have the Challenger board meet with their special meeting with their board to make this final decision, I think is great for the people in the town of Ramapo. I think it is great moment in history for this town in expanding our wonderful opportunities, and it will really expand the opportunities for kids to be able to access and utilize this center as well. Before I take a call for a motion, which I think would be appropriate that you would move, Councilman Stein, I would like to say that the installment payments that will be made on the $820,000 for this purchase will work as follows. We will put a $100,000 down payment, and some of that money, maybe half of it or some amount, will go toward the underlying mortgage. The Challenger Center will, the board foundation, in their transition to becoming an advisory members of the Parks Department, will utilize the remaining of the money to buy new equipment, new computers, upgrading equipments, and buying in, maybe you could elaborate on, Councilman Stein, but buying in on maybe some new missions that could be out there to other areas. And I'll recognize you in a second. And then over the next 12 years, the town will be putting up $60,000 each year to the foundation. And the foundation has made a commitment that they want to take that $60,000 and reinvest it into upgrading the equipment and the services and the availability and the programs that are in the Challenger Center. So this is a real true partnership that is about partnering, and it's about winning for everyone. And I'm just absolutely thrilled about it, and I'd like to, on behalf of the rest of the board, like to make you the liaison, and if you have any other comments, Councilman Stein.
I thank you, Mr. Supervisor. You know, it'll be a labor of pleasure to be the liaison to the Challenger Center. The irony is that when we started this in 1994, we had two goals. One was to actually open the door after we raised $1.7 million to put up, to acquire the property and build a building, and buy all the equipment as well as the first missions. The second was to, which actually, first mission for students was in 1999. The second goal at that point was to just be open for 10 years. And it was created with the intention of doing it like the Rochester Challenger, which was through BOCES, so that there was reimbursement to the students whose classes went through the Challenger Center, and that's what we did. We're not affiliated with any group or organization, until the town of Ramapo acquires the Challenger Center. I almost said us, acquires the Challenger Center. It was not affiliated with anybody. It was completely independent and run that way. Part of the problem is the lack of funds and being able to generate the funds to have the $50,000 to buy the new equipment and to buy the new programs that become available from Challenger National from time to time, in addition to paying all the salaries and all the upkeep on the building, which is now 10 years old. The irony is that, as of right now, had BOCES continued for the remainder of their 10-year commitment, which they ended after year 6, BOCES would own the building now and have the right to do whatever they want. They could end the Challenger, they could not end the Challenger, they could do whatever they wanted with the building and the facility for educational purposes, but they chose not to follow through the entire 10 years. And now we have the opportunity for the town of Ramapo to take us from year 11 through year 22. And hopefully in 12 years, we'll all be there to fly that mission and see what happens then. Yes.
Well, by then we can visit the Challenger Center on the moon or something, and then you know, it's a wonderful partnership, as I said before, and it is great that we can be able to do this. And something else, the town has always put money into the Challenger Center. We've always been putting in $5,000. Now we'll be putting in $60,000, and the people in the town will own this property, which is valued in the millions of dollars. So it is a true win for the taxpayers, for the kids that will go through this, and for anybody that goes through one of the missions.
Yeah. The irony is that there were some critics earlier this year, especially a particular radio personality, who criticized this town board for only giving $5,000 to the Challenger Center for the year 2009, on top of all the other years' commitments that we made, not knowing that the town board intended to take over the Challenger Center and ensure its viability for the next 12 years.
And I think it's a wonderful thing, and I want to thank you for all your work in the Challenger Center and look forward to your reports as a liaison, and I know that we will be able to continue the relationship with BOCES and getting a 50% reimbursement as well. And the name of the Challenger Center will be changed to the Town of Ramapo Challenger Center, and we will be servicing first the people here in the Town of Ramapo and then looking outside of the town as well. So a motion by Councilman Stein to
My pleasure to
purchase
move this.
the Challenger Center, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
2H is approval of a change order to the contract with Morano Brothers for the Maple Avenue reconstruction project. The change order is the amount of $43,189.43 for the transfer of a high-voltage electric feed cable from an old pole to a new relocated pole.
So the light doesn't shine in Mr. Romanowski's.
Moved by Councilman Friedman, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Supervisor, I'm filling in also for the Personnel Director. Item number 3 is to grant Alan M. Simon a provisional appointment as Director of Planning and Zoning Administration in the County of Rockland, in the Town of Ramapo, Building, Planning and Zoning Department, at the same salary.
Moved by Councilman Ullman, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
I'm sorry.
The
Fran, did I-
next item on the agenda is the police matters authorization for one police dispatcher to attend a training class in Watertown, New York, July 6th and 7th.
Who would want to go there?
It's a beautiful
Stein.
town. Moved by Councilman Stein, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Hunter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. I do want to say that Watertown is a beautiful town, and
Definitely not as safe as Ramapo.
no, but it is beautiful. Beautiful pastures as you drive up Interstate 81 to Watertown. The next item.
Nothing in the United States is as safe as the town of Ramapo.
That's right. The next item on the agenda is Finance. Our Director of Finance, Nat Overman.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. 5A1 is the amendment to the 2009 town budget, receipt of payments, Living in Rockland Expo of $2,350. We'd like to refund the current expense by $2,350 and increase appropriations by the same amount.
Moved by Councilman Friedman, second by Deputy Supervisor Hunter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
5A2 is receipt of insurance payment, damage to snowplow. We'd like to get your approval to increase our insurance recovery by $26,349.71 and increase appropriations by $26,349.71.
Moved by
Stein.
Councilman Stein, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oberman. Number 7, we've done 6 with the Board of Commissions. We will go right to number 7, under new business. This amendment on the resolution extending the payment to September 30th, Councilman Stein. I know you would request this.
Yes, just to make sure we're...
waiting for the final paperwork to come through, and it will be September 30th, the new resolution, or within 2 weeks of the closing of our transferring it over, whichever comes sooner.
I would assume you want to no. I would assume that the delay is caused by Provident Bank not closing on the loan. Is that
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean,
So this will extend it to September 30th. We're able to close on the loan sooner than the time period would be 2 weeks from the closing date. Okay? Moved by Councilman Stein, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Item 7B is acceptance of a proposal on the repair of the Spring Valley Pool. I'd like to have that over for an executive session. And the item 7C is acceptance of the street lights on Requa Lane.
do we have a reso on that, Mr. Brennan?
No, this came in late this afternoon.
Okay, all right, so it's a pro forma thing, right?
And there's no cost, we don't know the cost, we're just going to be taking over ownership and responsibility for Requa Lane's
All right,
lights.
I'll move that.
Moved by Councilman Friedman, seconded by
Hunter.
Deputy Supervisor Hunter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Rather, before we go into an executive session on item 7B on the contract negotiation, and we will now have public participation. So anybody in the public that would like to speak before the executive session, raise your hand. Motion to close public participation by Deputy Supervisor Hunter, seconded by
Stein.
Councilman Stein. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. This time, I'll make a motion to go into executive session for discussing a contract with regard to the Spring Valley Pool. And a second on that? All right, Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Presently, for people at home, you'll be able to watch a tape of our recent purchase of the Hamlets in Ramapo, and then we will be back at the end of the executive session. Thank you very much. Good morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Ramapo Town Hall. We have a very special and a historic event taking place today on another purchase of some beautiful property in the Torn Valley. You know, the town of Ramapo, over the past 9 years, we have been on an aggressive open space purchase program, probably the most aggressive open space program in the entire Hudson Valley. And the town of Ramapo will have spent, since 2002, our first purchase, will have spent $50 million of protecting lands here in the town of Ramapo, thousands of acres across every village and hamlet and the unincorporated area in the town of Ramapo. One area that we particularly have been interested in is in the western portion of the town of Ramapo, where we have our federally sole source federal aquifer, protected aquifer. And that is where 40% of the water in Rockland County comes off of the Ramapo well fields. So that was our very first purchase, and we purchased it from Ramapo Land Company, and today we're making another purchase from Ramapo Land Company as well. But the great thing about the Torn Valley is that it is right there in the Ramapo River watershed. It protects our watershed. As you know, we're making an expansion of the Ramapo, Western Ramapo Sewer Expansion Program, which is a $125 million project. where we're putting in an advanced wastewater treatment facility. We have now a collection system going in Hilburn, which is completed, and now we've moved up into Sloatsburg, and we're putting a collection system in so that all those failed septic systems, or we're putting effluent into the Ramapo River, now will be going into a collection system and coming to our advanced wastewater treatment facility that will process this water to the point where it comes up to clean drinking water standards, and we'll be going back into the Ramapo River at a rate of 1.5 million gallons of water per day of clean water. One thing when you put in sewers in an area is you get an explosion of development, because sewers make it more feasible to be able to have development. So we've seen that balance. In Western Ramapo, we've been actively purchasing properties so that we could protect properties and protect the green spaces and the beautiful mountains in the western portion of the town. So while these sewers were going in, the $125 million, of which we just received $35.2 million as a direct payment in the stimulus package, and the Obama stimulus package, to reduce those costs to the residents of Ramapo and to the residents of Clarkstown that make up the sewer district. But we have been looking at other purchases in that area. We purchased the Hovenkopf Mountain in Hilburn. We also purchased from Ramapo Land Company 262 acres of the High Mountain, which now protects all of the land from Route 17 all the way to the New Jersey border. A beautiful piece of property that we purchased from Ramapo Land Company, 262 acres for $2 million back in, I believe, 2004, 2005. Another one of our major purchases. Ramapo Land Company, who have been the great stewards of the property in Western Ramapo since it came to them through grants from the king, the king or queen, whoever it may have been in England at that time. I think it was English, wasn't it, Jack? Yeah, it was from England. And all of those hundreds of years and the great history of this town has been really protected by Ramapo Land Company. Their goal was to take that stewardship and make sure that it goes into the hands of people that will also have that same stewardship, so it could be protected for future generations. And that's why I'm so thankful that working with Jack O'Keefe and Ramapo Land Company, we've been able to make great purchases to protect the environment in the Torrens Valley. And I also have to say and give kudos to our County Executive, C. Scott Vanderhoff, who also, working with Ramapo Land Company and with the Trust for Public Lands and New York State, have been able to just recently close on the Reitman Plateau, which is adjacent to the piece of property that we're buying today. So we're getting this contiguous parkland area, and also in this particular property, which I'll get into in a little bit more detail, there's some other exciting things that we'd like to be able to do on this property. But the Reitman Plateau and there's another area in Sloatsburg, another 90-plus acres that the county is working in their open space program to purchase as well. And as you know, the county also purchased, not from Ramapo Land Company, but in a separate purchase in Sloatsburg of 230 acres along Johnsontown Road, right within the heart of our watershed. 60% of the open space money that the County of Rockland has allocated and spent has been spent right here in the town of Ramapo. So this has been a great partnership, and I believe that the town and this administration is leading the way in preserving and protecting lands in this town. We also purchased from Ramapo Land Company the well fields, but we also purchased on the eastern portion, across from the well fields, where we now have our Joseph T. St. Lawrence Community Health and Sports Center. Beautiful field with the bubble and the beautiful indoor facilities. That was a purchase from Ramapo Land Company as well. We also purchased from Ramapo Land Company the Scythe Energy property. That was a property where Scythe Energy wanted to build a 759 megawatt power plant that we fought early in the 2001 when we fought American National Power. They wanted to build over an 1,100 megawatt plant adjacent to that property. Our goal was to be able to buy that Scythe Energy property, and we were able to accomplish that, and we made that purchase through Ramapo Land Company. We also purchased from Ramapo Land Company, aside from the major purchase of the High Mountain and the well fields, we also purchased 37 acres along the Ramapo River on both sides, so that we could protect between the New York State Thruway, the Ramapo River at Route 17, and then across from that Route 17 is the High Mountain. So we've effectively been able to protect all the way from the Thruway to the New Jersey border, some of our purchases from Ramapo Land Company. What's nice about that particular purchase is that it is going to be where our Ramapo River Trail, which we're working on from, that will connect New Jersey through Ramapo to the Heritage Trail in Orange County. It will connect Suffern and Hillburn to the Saint Center and also to the Sloatsburg Community Fields. So there's been a great emphasis. This could not have been done and completed in the Western Ramapo without the work that we've been able to do with Ramapo Land Company. And I'm just very excited about this particular piece because it's a piece that has some different qualities to it. This is an area that is across from the old Iron Works foundry. This is an area that was the beginning of the industrial area here in the town of Ramapo. It's where the dams was put in to have a mill and where the iron works, and they would make nails and screws, and they had also dye plants and fabric plants in the area. There was homes along there. It was really the beginning of an industrial base here in the town of Ramapo, along with the massive agrarian operations that were going on by the earlier settlers. Because of that, on this purchase, there are homes on this, 19 different residences that are on this property, and they're occupied. And we wanted to make sure that when we purchased this, that rather than using open space money, we used an economic development bond that we put out particularly for this and several other initiatives we're doing on affordable housing, so that would give us the latitude to be able to do some exciting things and trying to make sure that we can keep the historic value of these homes. A lot of old salt box homes dating back into the 1700s, and a lot of people that are occupying these homes have occupied these homes for decades. So we wanted to make sure that there'd be a great transition here, and that's why we're going to have Ramapo Land Company manage this property for 2 years, and they've been nice enough to give us an option for a third year if we wanted to have their services to work with the people that are living on this property. But one of the things that meeting with the Commissioner of Housing for New York State, Mrs. Amarangan, Van Amarangan, I spoke with her about the possibility of getting some grants from the state so that we could go in and work on this property, and we could bring home ownership to the families that have been living there for all these years. We will work with those families. We'll work with subdividing each of those lots so that we can work with them to get home ownership and give them a great future there and allow them to have some equity build up. So that's why we purchased this property with an economic bond and not with our open space money. So we had the flexibility to be able to do different things in this property. And in a second, I'll go over to the map and show you in detail this property and some of the other aspects of this property. Also working with Ramapo Land Company, we've been able to get a owner, the Black Oaks Estates, to also agree to sell their property to the town of Ramapo. What we're purchasing today is 88.122 acres, and then we will be purchasing near 20 acres, about 17.77 acres from the Black Oak Estates as well, which will mean that the entire area will be protected from the Torn Valley all the way over to Betty's Falls, which is then adjacent to the area that the county has just purchased. We will also be looking to take part of this property and sell it to the Rockland County Solid Waste Management Authority so that they can have new scales going outbound on Torn Valley Road, because this property stretches all the way over to Torn Valley Road. And then we would like to look at what opportunities we can have to have housing for people in Western Ramapo, especially our volunteer firemen and ambulance corps workers, for the people in the Sloatsburg, Hillburn, and Suffern fire departments, and also for senior citizens. Something nice that would fit lightly on the ground. On the particular property of the Black Oak Estates, had buildings on there that had burned down many years ago. So we're going to go lightly on the ground there, and our goal is to be able to preserve and protect the majority of this property, bring some home ownership to the Ramapo hamlets as well. So I'll go over to the map now and show a little bit of the dimensions on this, and then we will have some more speakers. But before we do that, I'd like, if we could, Jack, to introduce everybody that's here on the dais. Next to me, I have Jack O'Keefe, President of Ramapo Land Company, and his attorney, Brian Quinn, from Quinn, Montalbano, and Frank. Well, okay. We like to put you're the hardest working lawyer in that firm, so we want to. I'll put your name first. On my right, we have our town attorney, Michael Klein, who's going to get up and talk a little bit in a second. Next to Michael Klein, we have Avi Obermeister from Meister Abstract. Avi, thank you for being here, the title company. And also from Meister Abstract, we have Sarah Friedman as well. Sarah, nice to have you here as well. So at this time, I'd like everybody watching to be able to really get a view of the property. I have the survey, and then I also have a topo, and then we'll have some more comments. This is a view of the property. This is the area of the Ramapo River. What we are purchasing is this entire property here. This is the power lines that go through. This would be the Torn Mountain up here. This is Betty Falls, where Brick Kiln Stream comes down. The county has just purchased this portion and all of the Reitman Plateau. This is a beautiful area here, the Betty's Falls. It's a very pretty area, and maybe I'll ask Jack to talk a little bit about that as well. And now this is all forested. This is where the hamlets are. These are the homes. As you can see, there's a little cul-de-sac here. What we'd like to be able to do is to work with the county and to make a trail up to Betty's Falls and up onto the Reitman Plateau and make this an area that we could have a park area with the town and the county working together. And as I said, I want to thank Scott Vanderhoff, our county executive, for this wonderful purchase here. This is as I said, where the hamlets are. This is the bridge that comes over to the hamlets. These are the well fields, which was our first purchase from Ramapo Land Company. This is Torn Brook Farm Road, which we now get ownership of, Jack. This is a private road. I would say that the Ramapo Land Company has already improved this intersection here and put a brand new bridge in here so that it will meet all the weight requirements for our fire trucks. This is where the solid waste scale house is, so we're buying the property across the street from there, and we'll work with the Solid Waste Authority to take some of that property and make it available to the Solid Waste Management Authority to put an outbound scale in, which they desperately need. This property right here, this hashed property, is the Black Oaks Estate, so you can see this property wraps completely around Black Oak Estate. So as I said, I want to thank Ramapo Land Company for working with the owners of Black Oaks Estate so that we could get that purchase. And we passed the seeker and we passed the authorized the contract, so we're working on that at our meeting last night, and so very shortly we will be able to own that property. You can see there's a road that already goes up onto the plateau here where the housing was, and our idea would be to try to provide home ownership here, which will help go toward paying off the debt service of what we're buying, protect a large portion of this, and to be able to have some exciting housing for seniors who are so hard-pressed to live in this county, and also for our volunteer firemen, because we need to keep our young people around. Here's a view that can probably, people can acclimate themselves a little bit more to this. Here you can see the New York State Thruway. This building right here is not owned by the town. This is a building. Now we'll open up the doors. We got the mics on. Anybody out in the hallway can come back in.
And Supervisor, we're transferring money from neighborhood parks.
Yes.
To Bacon.
The children's, we didn't need a resolution for that?
No,
We're
they're
not
still
ready.
working on that.
No, we're still working on that, too.
Okay.
What about the Historical Society?
Still working on that. We
Still
need
working
an
on it.
agreement, but we're going to have to work it out.
Alan, congratulations.
resolution?
There was a motion to, Alan, congratulations. There was a motion earlier to make it provisional to have you ahead of the building
Starting
department.
July 9th. So you're gonna,
It passed 3-2.
you may wanted to try to get away, but wait.
A 40% deduction in salary. There was a 40% deduction in salary, however.
Okay, now we are back on. Jack, do you have us back on? Okay. The next item on the agenda is item 7B, and that is the acceptance of the proposal for repair of the Spring Valley Pool by B&B Pools. Moved by
Stein.
Councilman Stein, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. And I would like to say that this proposal will have the Spring Valley Pool, despite the rain and the tremendous amount of work that had to be done. We believe we'll still be able to have our opening date of July 4th. And with this proposal, working with our dedicated workers in the Parks Department, with our Finance Department, working with our Building and Grounds, our Sewer Department, our Highway Department, and a real collaborative effort by the town in conjunction with B&B Pools, we will be able to do this for under $200,000. As you may or may not know, the proposal Spring Valley had was that a minimum of $800,000 to upwards to get the pool up and running for the kids and the residents and the seniors in Spring Valley could be able to use this. And we, with our expertise and with this proposal, we will be able to bring this in for under $200,000. So I think it's an absolutely fantastic thing, and I can congratulate the Ramapo Town Board. Councilman Ullman.
I just wanted to thank you, Supervisor, for working very hard on making sure that this Village of Spring Valley does have a pool. As a Village of Spring Valley resident, I have been in the past numerous times, both publicly and privately, complained to the village. I was a strong critic that the Village of Spring Valley did not have a pool for its residents. I want to thank you for that. And now, as I'm on the board of Ramapo, I've been a strong proponent that we use local. When I define local businesses, I define local as in the town of Ramapo. And we're helping out a fellow townsman, you would call them B&B, this proposal.
Great. Okay. We moved, seconded, we vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the council member comments. Any council member comments before we go to the deputy supervisor's comments? Deputy super, I think we can have to. However, we have a lot of rain, and we do need a good weather for Sunday, friends. So if you could speak to getting some good weather for the fireworks on Sunday.
I'll do my best.
Deputy Supervisor Hunter.
I think everyone knows. If they don't, we're going to tell you about it again, the fireworks. And they're always great for the town of Ramapo. We're going to have a skydiver, we're going to have entertainment, and we're going to have Hermit, is that correct? The doors will open, or should I say, the grounds will be open to you at 5:30. So if you'd like to bring something to eat and drink, and I'm talking about soft drinks, please come out. It's going to be a show that you don't want to miss. The weather's going to cooperate. According to the man upstairs, it's going to be nice on Sunday, with maybe a few showers, but only in the earlier part of the day. So please bring your blankets, your chairs, your family, and come out and enjoy what has turned out to be one of the greatest fireworks in Rockland County, the one that the town puts on for the 4th of July. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Supervisor. I do want to thank the Muncie Lions that will be there, and all of the ambulance corps and the Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Kralik and everyone at the RCC, from Dr. Wood all the way down, for the work that they do at the fireworks. And remember this, couple points that when we also are going to have this on WRCR radio, and it will be on live, so that if you're close to the facility and you're in your car, you can turn on WRCR 1300 AM on the dial, or the official radio station of the town of Ramapo, and you'll be able to listen to the band, you'll be able to listen to everything that's going on the stage leading up to the fireworks, and get to have that enjoyment that way as well. And we just want to remind everybody, we've had times, not in the most recent years, but many years ago, where we had officers that were run over. We had one year 4 officers that went to the hospital when everybody wants to leave. I will personally be giving $50 to the last person that leaves. So if you want to stay and be the last one out, you'll get $50.
Okay.
I got to check my sleeping bag.
The real point is that our police have a great system of getting the cars away. Even if you feel you need to make a right and they're telling you to go left, you're going to have to just kind of meander around. So we get everyone away from the area, and believe it or not, even going that way, you'll get home even quicker. So be safe, and remember there are people walking out there. And this is a political season time, and I just want to remind all those people that are running for office that this is a SUNY facility in the state of New York, and you cannot be using any type of leafleting or giving out any brochures. This is a time of celebration for our nation, but it's also a time when people go out and get petitions, and people can certainly go through the crowd and get petitions. I believe that that is allowed on the campus, but we will not be allowing people to hand materials out, whether it's balloons or whether it's any paraphernalia or leaflets. It just litters the area, and so we would hope that everybody would abide by that, but everybody in the county, whatever office you're running for, is certainly welcome to come over. There's no charge, and it's going to be a great event. And I believe that there will be an exhibit of some Haitian art there as well. And so people will be able to come over and have a great time. There's going to be a lot of local bands, not just Herman Hermits and Peter Noon, but there are going to be a lot of local musicians playing as well. And then we will have a countdown. We'll have our honor guard march in, and we'll have a countdown. And then the Zambelli fireworks will dazzle everyone. So come on out and enjoy it. We're praying for great weather. We'll have our skydivers there as well. And this year, no, I'm not joining, but Councilman Ullman is going to be jumping out with the skydivers as well. And we're trying to get a parachute that fits him.
It's a rookie thing.
Let's vote on whether we give them a
You may be game, but your wife, Schiffer, will not allow it. So,
By the way, Mr. Supervisor, just to add a comment very quickly. I don't want to prolong it. You know, I go every year, and the trouble is, all the cars, you talked about 4 police officers being hurt years ago. Everybody tries to play chicken, if you excuse the expression, and there are no security police that is directing traffic within the confines of the park. So everybody edges a little this way, a little that way, and that prolongs the problem of getting out.
You are recommending alternating?
Once you're on the street, the Ramapo police take over, and they do a fantastic job. But if everybody cooperates and just edging and cooperating and taking care of the other person, it'll work out fine.
I think so.
We'll get out a whistle.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other comments? No? I will make a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilman Friedman, second by Councilman Stein. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. We're adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Probably going